Welcome back to Built by Becker Podcast episode. I can't even remember now because it's been so long. I think it might be 25. But in the studio today, one of the nation's best realtors. I'm sorry, Patrick Dearborn, but I said it. And I can only say it because Pat allowed me to have this amazing guest today. And when I say allow, he introduced us and said, yes, for sure, you should have Gina on your podcast, even though Pat Dearborn and Joe Pavich are still our favorites around here.
Yeah.
We still make room for especially beautiful realtors like yourself, Gina. So thank you so much for coming today, coming on the podcast and just being a part of the Built by Becker family. We love to have you. It's been nice getting to know you at the event the other day, but then of course, having you here, asking these straightforward questions. I'm really going to dive into who you are and what you do and how you got here. So first and foremost, thank you for coming. And if there's anything you would like to say to our listeners and our viewers, please share.
Oh my gosh, Blake, thank you so much for having me on your show today. And I do want to give Patrick a shout out because, you know, he is pretty amazing saying to put me on your show. So he's really one of a
always
kind.
Shout outs to Patrick Dearborn, dear friend, super good guy. And, you know, you guys are in real estate together. So yes. I don't know what it's like. So I know what it's like with me and other builders. How is it with you and other realtors when, you know, are you guys working under the same, like, are you guys all John R. Wood or is he Christie's and you're John? Like what, how's that work? Where are you guys at? In the same office, so to speak?
We're not in the same office, but we are under the same brokerage.
Okay.
However, I mean, like our clientele is completely different. I mean, Naples is big enough for all the realtors.
6,000 realtors, actually.
6,000 realtors.
I know it's a crazy number like that. I'm sure someone's gonna be like, it's not 6,000 realtors, Blake. But anyways, 9,000 realtors.
Oh
See,
my
somebody.
gosh, 9,000.
9,000 realtors. Yeah. So anyways, 9,000 realtors. So there's room for everybody.
There is.
Right.
Yep.
And
there's enough business
is
to go
there,
around.
I mean, competition is good for business, right?
Absolutely.
So if you got Dearborn doing 200 mil and you're doing 199 or 201, that's good for business,
It's
right?
great.
That's good. That drives people to hustle a little harder, do a little bit better. I know in my industry, it's the same thing. There's 1 million contractors in Naples.
Yeah.
Any fact check over there? I didn't see any numbers coming back.
No
one knows how many contractors.
Know there's 25,000 builders.
So that's cool. So thank you, Pat, for introducing us, and thank you for coming on. I mean, so your bio speaks for itself, and it's only about 42 pages long. So instead of reading that entire thing as your introduction, would you like to share with us who you are and what exactly you do and who you work for and all that kind of fun stuff? So we can share that.
So, I've been in the real estate industry pretty much since I was born.
Wow.
Actually, my mom owned a brokerage when I was young.
Okay.
So started with her and it moved across the state line. I was from Illinois originally, the suburb of Chicago. And when I got married, we moved across the state line. It was like we moved to the middle of nowhere, like totally different. And it was 15 minutes from where I lived in Illinois. It was crazy. Anybody that has done it will attest to that. So anyway, with that being said, we started to have children and I said, okay, Mom, I'm not selling real estate anymore. This is all you. And right before that, she had closed her business and went to work for another brokerage. She had her own brokerage and she sold out to a larger brokerage. Anyway, long story short, I ended up, I'm just a mom. I'm not selling real estate. And so then I had the 3 boys pretty much simultaneously, like one after another. And when my youngest one was about 3, I was like, I should go back and just sell one house a month. It's just one, you know. And now I'm in Indiana, so totally separate from Illinois, so licensed in both. I started there and my one house a month turned into like 50 houses, not 50 a month, but I would say my largest month, I think I sold about 25.
Wow.
Yeah. So, that took years to accomplish that, but I always my main goal was always being a mom, though, because having a mom as a broker, you always try to do better than, all the things you missed out on or that you thought you missed out on. So I was like president of the school. I was room mom. I was on every trip, every school event for the kids. Even when they went to college, we went and watched their games. So we're traveling all over the country watching their games, and I still sold real estate. So
you're a hustler.
Yeah, I try.
So you can't keep a hustler down. You get even 3 kids, right? I can't stay home and clean these counters.
Right.
I need to move and shake.
Right.
So that's built in. That's ingrained in you.
Yeah.
You had that. You were born with that. Like you said, you came out of the womb to sell real estate.
Right.
Here's my card.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's cool. I mean, I love it. I love people who hustle. I love people who love business, and real estate is a business like any other business. It takes a certain type of finesse. It takes a certain type of knowledge. It takes a certain type of clientele for each individual realtor, best of my knowledge. And so what do you think, drove you to do all this, like real estate? Just because your mom was a real estate broker?
No, I love to help people. And when I'm like super good at it, super good at selling real estate and giving that to other people and helping them achieve their goals was what really drove me. I mean, it's super funny too, because like a lot of realtors will look at the commission, like to see like, okay, what is this house paying out? Which now that's all changed with the new laws of real estate, but they used to do
legislation.
Right. But they used to do that. Yeah. And I was never that girl. I was like, oh, like, wow, this one isn't paying anything. It was always about the people. And I think that's what made me so successful. But it's never been about the accolades, or it's just always that I could help people achieve what they've wanted,
Well, there's like I'm going to butcher it, I'm sure. There's a statement that says that if you work more than what you're paid for, you're going to get paid more than what you work for.
Yeah.
Right? Something along those lines. Yep. And that sounds like you were falling into that category at that stage. You were selling the house to sell the house. Commission was there, but that wasn't your focal point.
Right.
So when people go into something focused on just the number,
right.
Some people do great at that.
Right.
But I feel like the energy that's produced when you're going for something for that one particular reason, it doesn't last long. It's not sustainable, or it's not something that's, it's not fulfilling.
Right.
So then it's just, I'm going after that. And okay, fine. You got a bunch of that, but you realize, I just spent the last 30 years in an unfulfilling position.
Absolutely.
And you find people in their middle ages or whatever, going and doing something crazy because they've been doing that for so long and it didn't do anything for them.
For sure.
And so by helping people, I'm a huge people person.
Yes.
Right? I'm a huge people person. I'm a huge God person. And somehow God always falls into my podcast. It's I don't want to call it a miracle anymore. It's just part of it. I think he just shows up. But when you're doing that kind of stuff, when your focus is on people, which is God's children, he blesses you.
Absolutely.
He blesses you. So you're doing God's work and he blesses you. You know, like he's paying you to take care of his kids. So if that's a real estate transaction or being the school mom or being the president of the school board, whatever it is, like that's you're doing his work. So that's pretty awesome. What were some of the challenges of business, like in your early days, like when you were getting started? Like, okay, now you're the big shot, you sell all the real estate, you're number one in the country, or Indiana, all this stuff. What was it like when you weren't number one? What happened when you weren't the big?
Before I climbed the ladder.
Yeah.
Well, it was I always kind of had an advantage because my mom owned a real estate company. So like I was her daughter. Yeah. Right. So, so I always had that to fall back on, which was great. And now my boys have that to fall back on. They're like, my mom. Yeah.
Creating a legacy. Thanks, Mom.
Right?
Started the legacy, carrying on.
Right. Exactly. But I was not looking to be this large, actually. I never
set out to do that.
Yeah, I never set out to do this.
But what were all right, so you had to have some struggles.
Some deals were struggles.
Yeah.
With clients.
Like if there's any new, so there's 9,000 realtors in Naples. So if there's 6,000 of them that probably don't know what they're doing and 3,000 that do.
Right.
For those 6,000 that are listening,
right.
What's the difference between a mediocre realtor, a realtor who's just getting by, or someone like you or a Patrick Dearborn or a Joe Pavich or these big Bill Earls? Like what separates you guys from the people that are not making the deals happen? Yes. You said like you're good at selling real estate.
Right. Well,
why? What separates you? Yeah.
I mean, I'm uber focused on what the client needs actually. So it's all about their needs, and we have systems in place. So we make sure that nobody slips through the cracks. Okay. That's a huge part of handling a lot of clients at one time. So we have checklists and so forth. Yes.
I have checklists and systems. I have checklists and systems too. Yes. They're great. No one ever follows them, but they're there.
Exactly. No.
I'm like, is it on the checklist? Oh no, you missed that one. That's why it happened. Yeah.
But it's about honesty and integrity. I mean there's a lot of people without that.
Well, people think, right? And I've done quite a few real estate transactions that it's just, okay, I want that. And this is what I want to pay for it. But there's so much more involved in that.
There's so much
more crap involved in that. Real estate transactions are a pain in the butt. The best ones are a pain in the butt.
Yes. And it just depends on the market too. Yeah. So it was very, very easy, like, a couple of years ago.
Well, yeah, it was like shooting fish in a bucket.
It was just
everyone was a realtor 4 years ago.
And then everybody got their license. Right. And I actually found doing this so many years that I do better in a down market because I'm more experienced, and
that's where you thrive.
That's exactly
right. Your experience, which is so funny because my next question was, what has changed in the market over the decades?
Oh my goodness. Well, there's no more shooting fish in a barrel.
That's right.
For sure. So, yes, it's incredible the way, the interest rates, the ups and downs, as we all know. That's just very common, but it's the way we sell real estate. It's the advertising. It's the keeping up with the trends. That luckily I've seen real estate agents that I've worked with for years, and they're out now because they didn't keep up with the trends. You have to. All right,
I'm just sparking question. I told you I freestyle stuff. So what was a trend in the 90s? Can you remember what a trend was in real estate? Was it the card with your face on it? That was a trend, right? That was a big trend.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And then what about the 2000s? Started to get into the computer era, technology, the internet probably started to change things. Emails.
Pictures on our business cards.
Pictures on our business cards.
Like the coffee cup and my computer, my iPad.
In your iPad, yeah. Then, of course, market or the real estate on the iPad, like virtual tours, and then you get into
the pictures on Zillow were a huge thing.
Oh yeah, when did Zillow come out? That was probably the apps. Now the apps is now your new 2010 to 2025. Where we are today, the last 15 years has been apps, social media. Right. And what are some of the? Because I love this. We talk about this in construction all the time. The benefits to instant access, but what are some of the pitfalls to instant access?
Right. Well, there's no secrets at all, obviously. So everybody knows what everybody sold for and so forth, which it could be a positive and a negative, depending on, they don't know exactly why. So these people might have had to sell the house because they're financially struggling and the price went really low, and now this one's suffering from it because, now the market's gone down. Right. So, so they don't know everything, but they think they know it all because this is what it went for, So that's one of them.
We talk about that in my industry, right? So like before cell phones, if there was an issue on a job site, the project manager noted it in his book, went to all his other job sites, maybe went back to the office around 2:30, 3 o'clock, filled out his report, whether it was on a computer or a typewriter or something, and then gave it to whoever his supervisor was.
Yeah.
Like now it's like, hey, problem right now. Like, you got to stop what you're doing on this job, run over to the next one. Like, you didn't have to do, like, I feel like the access has made things a little bit more chaotic. You would think it would have made things more smooth. Now, I think it has smoothed things out in some areas, but there's always a give and a take, and there's always going to be that like imbalance with, instant knowing. Like, my guys can call me right now. It's fantastic when someone hits a pipe and there's a water leak. Great. All hands on deck. Call the plumber. Turn off the water. Fix the thing. We're going to dry everything out.
Right.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
If you didn't have cell phones, that's horrific.
Horrific. Oh my gosh.
Like, like, what did you do prior to that? So.
Yes. Well, but a huge thing is like, I can sell real estate anywhere now.
That's nice.
That's the best part.
That's
I
nice.
mean, I was back in the era where we literally had to take the papers to the people's homes and get signatures. And when you needed one initial, you had to drive back. And
terrible.
Yes. It was a little
How did
crazy.
we ever live?
I don't even know. And like, I can't even imagine going back to that again.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. So how are you staying ahead of these trends?
Well, I actually have taken a lot of classes over the years. I'm always upgrading my systems and so forth, and now the social media, of course, is definitely the trend. And so I've really dove in and learned, and I'm continually learning because it changes every day, right? So
You got 3 boys, right?
I do.
They work with you?
They work with me.
And how old are they?
3 of them. My oldest is 30.
Okay.
My second one will be 29, and he just got married last year.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you. That was fun. And then my baby is 25.
So they're probably helping you with the trends. That's the age right there. They're all about the trends and the lingo and all the fun stuff.
Absolutely.
So they're helping you. They're helping mom. And you have girls or boys?
I have all boys.
All boys. Yes. You hear that? All boys. Okay. So therefore, they definitely are helping out with the trends, and they're all about it. And they sell real estate as well.
And they do.
All 3?
All 3
wow.
of them. Yes.
Keep it in the family.
They all went to college. I made them work for me during the summers of college. Of course, I'm like, well, I'm paying for your college, so you need to work for me.
Okay.
So, so they all got their real estate license right out of college. That was right out of the first year of college when they came home for the summer.
Yeah.
I made them all get their real estate
Time
license.
for a job. Welcome to the real world.
Here's your job.
Right.
And my first one was like, I'm going to go work at Hollister. I'm like, no, you're not. Right. They're like, you're going to work with me. I'm like, I need help opening these lock boxes, and you need a license to do that. So, running around, just being able to go into people's homes and so forth. So it wasn't really to sell real estate. It was having a license so that they could
help you manage real estate.
They can access.
I never thought about that. Like, so if you have, how many listings do you have right now? Let's say.
Oh my gosh, I probably have around 20 right now.
Is that between 3 states?
Between 3 states, yes.
20 listings.
Yes.
So without help, if something comes up, you need to go there. There's a light that's left on.
Oh yeah.
You would have to go to all those if you didn't have help.
And I averaged probably back then, I probably had 20 to 30 listings at all times. So
Constantly. That's a
yes.
And of course, people's homes, either they're living there or they're not living there, and they need to be looked after.
Yeah.
They want them to be, there's probably issues that come up, a sprinkler is left on or whatever, something crazy.
Or they got locked out, and now they can't access the lockbox. So one of my sons had a key, that could open the lockbox. Here's your key, because the showing agent locked the inside garage door. That's like a huge one.
Oh yeah. Never even thought about that kind of stuff. Homeowners locked out of their own homes.
Yes. And they're going home and they're like, wait, Gina, I can't get in my house.
Oh, love that. Love that. All right. So let's talk about some of your awards, some of your highlights in the real estate. And I know that I found a little bit of information that you might have been like the #1 real estate agent in Indiana a few years in a row. Yeah. You've taken on some nationwide top 1% awards. Yep. And anything else I'm missing in that awards category?
Oh my gosh. It's really funny.
Other than best mom, right? Other than best mom
best
ever.
Mom ever.
I just did Dads and Donuts today, so I got the best dad award, which is cool. So
awesome. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So it's really funny because I back like probably I'd say 6 years ago, roughly, someone called me, they like a top agent magazine wanting to interview me. And I literally had to call like the admin at our office and say, what are my accolades? I don't
even know.
No,
That good.
It's never.
She's that good, people. She doesn't even know her own accolades.
No.
She's just out there kicking butt, taking names, selling
properties. It just
properties.
never mattered to me.
Being a super mom.
It never mattered, that part of it. Really.
That's awesome. Honestly, that's what's making you successful.
Yeah, it
really is.
I don't know, but I definitely like even award ceremonies and so forth at our office. It was like I was so far ahead. I was like kind of embarrassed. Like,
yeah.
Like, I want them to get the awards. I'm like, just put my award in my mailbox. I'm like, I'm not coming to the awards. And they're like, we want you to come so that they strive for that. And I go, oh, okay,
I've heard that as well. When people want to pat you on the back and you want to be humble.
Right.
But there's also something about standing up for your award and showing others that it's possible or showing others that this is important.
For sure.
You don't have to be crazy about it. Like you said, there's a way to humbly receive your award.
Oh, for sure.
And that's
but when it became like so far out of reach, I was like, well, no. So the one time that my brokerage did make me go, I came with awards for the entire office and gave them an award for selling one of my listings or, you know what I mean? So
that's great.
I was still like, okay, whatever.
So I found something that said your method, service, strategy, and success.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's really about how you respond to every situation. I mean, there's a lot of people that respond stressfully and, I always try to hold the stress for my client. Like I literally was talking to my son the other day on the beach while he's working with a client. I'm like, don't tell him that. I'm like, here, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have anything to do with this transaction and he's getting the house. I said, if you tell him that, you're just going to stress him out. And we want to take the stress out of the transaction.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that. So that lack of stress is part of the strategy. And that equals success.
Just trying to, I love when I go to a closing and everybody's laughing at the closing table.
Yeah.
Like it's very far and few between that we're not having a party at the closing table.
Right. And what do you think you could share with, that success, the service, the strategy, the success? Like, how long did it take to build that system, right? Like you can't have a checklist and a system until you have errors and mistakes.
Oh, for sure.
Right. So
so
what was that process? Like from there to here, like, how many things did you have to do wrong, or not even wrong, but like learn, like, there's a better way of doing that.
Right.
Did you figure that out after 10 years? Did you kind of figure that out, or was that ever growing with the change of trends in society?
So it's really funny because of working for my mom in the very beginning. And she had a whole company of agents. So I virtually worked for all of them. I was the admin for the office and I wrote their checks. I gave them their bills. It was a Remax. So they bill their agents. So I really learned at a very young age what not to do.
Okay.
Like when clients would call in about this agent or that agent and they did this and they did that. Even my mom, they didn't know she was my mom.
Yeah.
If they'd call, they're like, oh, she's never called me back. Well, then I knew, you got to call them back, So I really had an advantage, starting that young that way.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So there is an advantage to starting when you come out of the womb.
Yes,
right? A few months old, out there starting to do real estate, barely walking, but handling it. That's awesome. You've earned a lot of respect in the industry between the different states as well as nationwide. Any plans for like what's next? Like what do you want to do? I mean, you're still young.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still got a ton of energy. Still out there grinding with your family and your kids. Like what's your vision? What's your 10-year vision?
That's I was thinking you were going to ask me that, actually. And I was actually asking my son, what's my goal? Like on the way here. And right now I'm in the thick of so much, starting the new business in Naples and keeping my old business in, Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, that I really haven't looked forward. And I've always been a meant to be kind of person, and I know God has a plan. And honestly, that's how my whole life has been.
So you're going to one day at a time.
I'm just
going to suit up every day, show up every day,
right?
With and a big smile and handle business.
Yeah. And it just, look at like I'm here today. Like this just happened.
Yeah.
I might.
This was a topic of conversation on a Tuesday night, and here you are Friday at lunchtime,
and totally regretted it on Wednesday morning.
I love those kind of regrets. It beats the other one.
Why did I say I would do this?
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you so much for coming. We've learned a lot. Are you mentoring anybody other than your kids? Or just focusing on your boys?
Just focusing on them. I had a huge team way back, but the kids were in high school and grade school and that. And I learned like it takes a lot out of you to run that huge team. And I'm uber focused on the kids right now and want them to succeed and them to build a team later on, I would imagine. Or if they want to, it's totally up to them. Right now, they're super busy and loving it, and so I'm not sure.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. What are your goals for the Naples business? Because how old is the Naples business?
Naples business is about 6 years roughly. I've been here, and that's kind of another thing actually. When I started it 6 years ago, it was the repetition of doing the same thing over and over. I'm like, I got to do something different, and loved it down here. The kids went to college. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start something new. I'm going to start down in Naples, So with that being said, 2020 happened, right? I actually started building a team here in 2018, started rocking and rolling. It was really coming together. 2020, everything shut down. And I just was renting a condo here at the time because I didn't know where I wanted to be yet. And I went home thinking I would never come back. Like, okay, well, that was fun. And, 2020, like, it's the end of the world. And, I better stay home with the kids,
right.
And then clients brought me back. So realistically, everybody I'm working with right now are past clients or referrals of past clients from up north.
Okay.
So, and then, they feel
bringing
confident.
The Midwest down to Florida.
Well,
let's go.
They already have homes here, a lot of them,
which
I
do.
had no idea.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you have a home here, so crazy. But with that being said, they have the confidence, right? I've built that confidence up there, so they know I'm the same person down here. So I've been very busy with that.
Trust is a huge part of business. It's really just, and it's funny. I just took on a job from a client who, previous client who went with somebody else and then has called me to come in and take over.
Yeah.
And, we had this kind of funny talk and I was like, I'm not mad that she went with somebody else. It's totally fine. Right. You know what I mean? And I was like, she's like, well, there was things on my project I wasn't 100% happy with, but like the rest of it was perfectly fine. So I just thought I would try somebody different. And I'm like, well, sometimes the evil versus the evil you don't know is so much worse. It's like, so I know you're good at this, and this. And this area, everyone has faults. Everyone has areas that are not going to be perfect. And that's kind of what she was kind of like joking with her. I'm like, so where I'm great and where I'm going to fault. So I'll focus on trying not to do that. And let's work together and we'll figure this one out. And so that's what we're doing. But it was, that kind of thing is trust. She knows me. She knows I'm going to do what I'm going to say.
Right.
She knows I have faults. We're going to work around those. And I know she has faults. Right. You know what I mean? Because I called her out on those too. Like, hey, you have some faults too. So let's try to work. We know how each other, we've done 3 projects now. Yeah. This is our 4th. So we know how each other work.
Exactly.
So it's trust. It's about relationships.
Absolutely.
And that's so important.
I've had people actually go to another agent, in between a transaction.
Oh, yeah.
The house isn't selling, right? So they like, we have to get another agent. That really probably only happened once, but this one in particular, like the contract expired and they call me back. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Will you please take me back?
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm like, yes. So,
double the commission.
Exactly. I ended up buying that house.
Wow.
Myself.
Okay. Nice.
So it's really funny.
Yeah. Love it. Okay. So mentoring the kids, your goals is to grow the business here for the boys for you're going to retire.
Yeah.
You got an exit. You got an exit strategy. Can you retire?
Yeah, I actually can.
Like, can you retire? Like, I can retire. I can retire.
We can all
too.
retire.
I can quit today. If someone would just give me money, that'd be great.
Yeah. Hey.
But could you retire? Endless bank account. Could you retire?
I don't think so.
Me neither.
No.
And the reason I say that is because
so.
I'm a shit starter. I'm a mover and shaker.
What would we do?
What would I do? Only so much golf and so much boating.
Exactly.
And so I would go crazy.
Exactly. What would we do?
You only travel so much.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I think I have to do something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we may like switch it up a little bit.
Do something differently.
In the same industry, but I definitely, I want to see the boys succeed with it. They're really young and ambitious.
Yeah, even taking a back seat,
exactly.
And watching the boys thrive,
exactly.
would be great. I can see that with myself. Like, yeah, I got to do something. And I know, like, when I'm talking to A-type peoples that, like, we're go-getters.
Right.
You're not going to sit me down and, get me to fish and golf all day,
Right.
I'll do it a couple days.
Exactly.
And I got to do something else. This is boring. Exactly. I have to have, like, and I really think it's like, there's an adrenaline that comes with entrepreneurship. There's a personal, there's a personal part of me that needs to challenge myself. Right. And then to overcome a challenge and succeed and say, wow, look at this thing that I did.
Right.
And then it's on to the next one.
Right.
Like, there's something that look at this.
Look at what you've accomplished here. This is
just a old silly podcast.
Hey, this is this is really taking off.
It is. It's
very
fun.
exciting.
It's fun. Yeah. I enjoy it. I fell in love with the media industry when the whole podcast thing started, and I'm diving into other areas, which has been awesome. But yes, that's all part of it. Like, I can't just do construction. I can't just do.
Well, exactly.
I got to do other. I got to
exactly.
Because that kind of runs smoothly right now. I need to go.
You've got your systems in place.
I do have systems in place. Systems and great people.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what you need.
Okay. All right. What keeps you motivated?
What keeps me motivated? I think I was kind of born with that.
I like it.
I mean, you either have it or you don't.
That's right.
I have siblings, and, the difference is incredible. Like, I don't know.
You either got it or you don't.
You either have
Sometimes
it or you don't.
Something happens in one's life. I've seen that.
Yes.
So trauma or hitting rock bottom or near-death experiences that causes a shake-up in one's whatever you call it, balance or
for sure.
And then they get extremely motivated,
right?
Or vice versa.
You can't motivate anyone.
They lose their motivation,
right?
So I do feel that that's something that's you have or you don't have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. These weren't on the list of bullet points.
Oh no,
these are fun. These are my favorite ones.
Oh no,
these are called rapid fire. You don't have time to think.
Oh no.
Okay. But they're easy. I went easy. Okay. Favorite style of home to sell?
Favorite style of home to sell? I love my waterfront homes.
Waterfront. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest pet peeve in real estate?
Oh my gosh. The wrong information on listings.
Okay. I like that. Get your listings right, people. Get your listings right. Most underrated marketing tactic?
Underrated. That would be just relationships.
Relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You don't hear that on a marketing pitch.
No.
Right? One piece of advice you'd give a new agent just starting out.
That's kind of a tough one. Answer your phone.
Answer your phone.
Answer your phone.
Answer your phone.
Lots of people think texting is the way to go, and You know, I have people like, especially the younger generation, you call them, they don't answer and they text you, what's up?
Like, they don't want to talk.
What?
And you call them back, like, hey, you're on your phone.
Yeah,
and they
right.
don't answer
You're
you
on
again.
your phone.
They text you back.
Right.
In a meeting.
Did you need
What's
something?
Up? Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to talk. Hence the phone call 2 times in a row.
I tried to text this. It's way too long to text, and you can't understand my tone.
Well, that is definitely our generation. I'm getting older. Older.
We are.
But there's times that I like to text too. I just don't want to talk to people sometimes.
Right.
Hit that block button. Boop.
Yep. That's
Good.
it.
Thank you. But thank you. This has been fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing an insight to your beautiful business, to your beautiful family, and all of your success.
Thank you so much.
And it's been really fun to have you on. You did a phenomenal job.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Built by Becker, Real Estate Hero, right here in Indiana, Illinois, and Naples, Florida on Built by Becker. It's been a dream. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so
right.
much.